nobody want to get up and do it and dance and get into the zone? Come on, this is exciting, isn't it?
I know. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Everyone enjoying this?
What day is it today? Is it Tuesday today?
It's so weird, isn't it?
It feels like Monday, doesn't it? Obviously, because yesterday was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you watching?
I did actually, yeah. I watched at home. I was a bit nervous to go into town. I thought it might be a little bit...
Well, so many people went out. It was a huge day.
Yeah.
But it does, when you do have a bank holiday, it does sort of...
Yeah.
Put things out of kilter. But anyway, I want to say congratulations, because your autobiography, as Niamh just said, Who I Am, My Story, was out last Wednesday, and I know friends who went to the launch. You looked incredible as always. You had a funky little outfit on.
I did. We were just talking about it when we were backstage. It's so fun because obviously like 90s fashion and noughties fashion has come back. Like my daughter, she goes out shopping and I'm like, I used to wear all that in the 90s. I invented that look. No, you didn't, Mum. I did. But on whatever night it was, Thursday, I wore a shirt. So when we toured back in '98, every city we went to, I'd get like the local sports team. Here it was mostly football, but when we did the US and Canada, it was basketball, sometimes baseball, ice hockey. So I had a '98 baseball top on from Montreal.
So have you kept loads of clothes from that time?
I've kept quite a few, but I wish I kept more, to be honest.
It all comes, as we said, it all comes back. Because of you, I had about 3 pairs of Buffalo trainers, and now everyone's wearing them again, and I'm raging because I gave them away. But anyway, fashion.
We digress.
We digress. Fashion. Listen, on the back of the book, it says, I never told my story before because I wasn't ready. Now, finally, I am. And I was really surprised about that because I feel like I know you, but I guess that's the point of this, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, up until last week, I was still thinking, have I made a mistake?
Really?
You know, it's a bit late. It's a bit late now.
It's done.
But no, it has been difficult because there's been times in my career when I've thought, I'm never going to do it. Or I'm going to do it when I'm really old, really bitter and twisted. Loads of people have died, so I can be really mean about them. But a few things happened. We did some stadium shows in 2019, and it was a real defining moment, I think, for all of us Spice Girls. We were able to look out, you know, across places like Wembley Stadium, and it was just insane. We kind of really realised, I think for the first time, the impact we'd had on this generation of young people. Mm-hmm. Not only that, there were other generations there, people who weren't even born in the 90s. So it was just a moment of going, wow, we've achieved so much. And it was me, and I was worried about being Sporty Spice, but then I realised it's part of me and she's always there. So I just started to accept all these aspects, and that helped me, well, it inspired me to write my last album, my self-titled album, which came out in 2020. And then the book. I just felt like, it's an interesting story. You know, it has its ups and downs, its twists and turns.
And you talk quite openly and candidly about some of the difficulties you faced in that era. You know, it's 25 years since Wannabe came out, but you're in it. And I guess it's like that moment when you look out and you think, what is happening? What's going on? Whereas on the outside, we're all going, oh my gosh. Sporty Spice, you know, is part of the biggest band in the UK, and they must be living the dream. Everything must be perfect in their life. Yeah.
But I think, you know, that's just, as you get older, you realise that nothing's perfect, is it? You know, and often things aren't what they seem. And, you know, I can't take anything away from my time with the girls. Obviously, I'm still a Spice Girl. I will always be a Spice Girl. But I think I look back at the Spice Mania period, like in the late 90s, and it was incredible. We were achieving our dreams. We were having the best time. But, you know, there's a dark side to everything. Mm-hmm. And there was lots to overcome. There was lots to figure out. And yeah, I just felt it was time to document it. And also, you know, I'd been quite nervous to do a memoir because in my head it felt quite tabloidy, and, you know, they always pick up on the same kind of things. And then a publisher I met said, look, it's your book. It can be whatever you want it to be. And I just thought, you know what? I have overcome some really difficult things in my life. And if some of that pain can go towards helping somebody else, then it hasn't been in vain.
To be a mouthpiece and help out. And you list places that young people can go to, or anyone who reads the book can find sort of help if they need to, if they have experienced the same sort of things you have.
Yeah, and I think the thing is now what's so brilliant and very different from the 90s is we do speak much more openly about certain things, whether it be mental health, eating disorders, anxiety, depression. It's, you know, it's so much more out there. So I feel like it's a good opportunity. And also, you know, so much is written about myself and the other Spice Girls. It's quite nice to tell the story in your own words.
100%. Did you run it past them first?
I did. It was really important to me that they were happy and comfortable with, you know, my version of events. And they've been very supportive and actually really helpful because my memory's not what it was.
Did they fill in some gaps for you?
Yeah, definitely. But Melby made me laugh because she was like, oh yeah, I'll help you. I was thinking, you remember shit. And the bits you don't remember, you just make it up. You're no help to anyone. But she did help me, in all honesty. She did.
I'm sure you have loads of up-and-coming stars, musicians, you know, media folk asking you for advice. Do you think the advice you give now is totally different than the advice you would have given, say, 20 years ago?
Absolutely. I think just living it and coming through the other side in many ways, it just gives you that authority.
Yeah.
And I kind of see myself as like a pop fairy godmother. I want to, you know, I do want to help people. I want to help people potentially avoid pitfalls that I fell into. And although lots has changed, there are lots of new pressures for young people, you know, with social media and technology the way it is now. But, you know, a lot remains the same. So as much as I can, I give my advice. And often they listen, which is nice.
Yeah, but you just seem quite chilled, you know, and level-headed and ready to tell your story. And we know that things have gone on and you've told us. But you still manage to lead quite a private life when you are, you know, Mel C. Mm-hmm. You know, you happily say you're Sporty Spice, and which is great because...
Mm-hmm. It's been amazing, you know, because I realised quite quickly there were certain parts of fame and celebrity that I didn't enjoy, that made me feel uncomfortable. And for various reasons, I was able to navigate that. You know, I've had my blips, but... you know, predominantly I live what I deem to be a normal life.
Normal, we were talking about that, we were like school run.
Normal, yeah.
Normal, go to the shop.
You know what, sometimes I come in, like I can play Wembley Stadium with the girls, come in, empty the dishwasher. But you know when you're like, fuck my life, but then you're also like, actually, this is keeping me grounded.
And I saw a lot in the press the other week, obviously with the book out, you're going to be asked a lot of the same sort of questions, but you did touch upon the girl power thing. Where are we now in terms of girl empowerment? What, you know, at that time, I think it's probably stood for something different. Well, there you are there, look, you know, doing your thing.
Yeah, I think, I was looking out to the audience here. Oh, there we are. Yeah, I think it's, everything has changed. I think sometimes it's frustrating because it feels like it's too slow. You know, but thank goodness it is moving in the right direction. You know, we are seeing so many more women in roles, in industries that we maybe wouldn't have seen in the 90s. I think it's kind of permeated through generations. I mean, I look at my daughter and her friends, a few of them I had in my house yesterday. Oh my God, teenagers are petrifying, aren't they? But they are so sure of themselves, like they know what they want, they're not afraid to get it. And the way they interacted with each other, and you know, there was a few boys popped over, and it's like, I feel like girls are more empowered now. Obviously there are different personalities within that, but I just feel like it's a general thing. I feel like we're in pretty good hands. I think our young people are quite inspiring.
They are brilliant. And also what I loved about the book is that, and whenever I see an autobiography, don't you have to have good pictures?
Yes.
You have to have good pictures. It's one of the things and there are so many good pictures of you growing up, being a teenager, winning your gymnastic medals and stuff. Yeah. And in those pictures though, what were going through your head? Because you do look strong, you look in control, giving us the finger.
That's all, my brother. Do you know what? It's so weird, isn't it? We spend that part of our life, you know, different for different people, but personally for me, like in my 20s, I was really trying to figure out who I am. And, you know, who do I want to be? Who do people think I am? Who do they expect me to be? Am I that? Am I this? And then you kind of, doing something like this, you go back to your childhood and you realise, actually, you never stray that far away from that child. You know, I've always been active. I've always been sporty, you know, and I think it's just an acceptance that you are so many things. Like, I am strong, but, you know, I'm weak. Yeah. I am, you know, I'm powerful, but I'm masculine, I'm feminine. You know, we are all so many things, and it's just thinking that, you know, we move around that.
Yeah, be fluid. Now, we're at Radio Centre's event today, which is focused on the wonderful world of radio. And I wanted to ask about the support radio played in your early career, because, I mean, it was a platform, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Huge then.
You know, as a music artist, radio is so important. Airplay is key to getting a hit song. And it's still so important because, obviously, everything's changed. You know, there are so many platforms now. Young people consume things so differently. But as an artist, you need those playlists. You need that airplay. It helps your career. It continues your career. You know, it's make or break in many ways. For me, radio, being a kid of the 80s, you know, growing up through the 70s and 80s, it's like the radio is so key. It's actually in the book. One of my first musical memories is I was in a cake shop and I could hear this song. And it just captured my imagination. And it was so funny because I think someone in an interview said, oh, it was on the sound system or something. I went, it was on the wireless. It was like, it was 1977 in Liverpool. There was no sound system. And it was Kate Bush, Wuthering Heights.
Oh my gosh.
And I was so intrigued by her and this sound. And, you know, growing up in Liverpool, like regional radio as well, like Radio Merseyside, Radio City, and those characters. And it becomes a soundtrack to your life. Those car journeys with the family. Yeah. And, you know, now I actually will have the radio on at home more than I'll have the TV on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what sort of stations do you listen to?
I like 6 Music, Radio 1, Radio 2. I'll dip in and out. My daughter takes over, and then we get into,
You're a nightmare for the radios, aren't you? but what is it like when you hear your music?
That never gets old. I mean, the first time you hear your song on the radio, it's just like, you know, hair stand on end, and you're so proud. But that actually never stops. It's always exciting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you can hear it a mile off. You know, if you're somewhere and it's just quiet, and that's me. And it's like, yeah, it's very cool.
And which is cool that you're still relevant today, because, you know, I know so many young people are like, yeah, the Spice Girls, as if they invented the Spice Girls. I'm like, hello.
My daughter will often say to me, yeah, but you're just not relevant, Mum. And I'm like, Spice Girls will always be relevant.
Always be relevant, you tell her. And you've also had a bit of a go at presenting. You did some stuff at Magic, didn't you? Which one do you prefer? Why are you doing that?
I find actually presenting radio terrifying.
Do you?
I started at Magic. I was sitting in for Kim Wilde, actually, which was really fun. And yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It's so lovely to be in that role, but I always kind of feel like I'm pretending. You know, because it's not something I'm that experienced in. Right. And I have so much respect for the people who do it and the people who do it really well. Because, yeah, I'm a bit of a pretender.
Yeah, but it's nice to have a go, though, isn't it?
It is nice to have a go. I like to have many strings to my bow. But, yeah, it scares me. I feel like I need to do a course or something to be bona fide.
Everyone's ears are pricking. They're like, what can we use Melanie C for? Look, we've literally gone over. We're meant to be doing some questions. Final question.
Yes.
Although you live a private life, you have met so many amazing celebrities. You met the King. Can we call him King now?
The King, yes. What I love, and there's some great pictures in the back. What I love is, obviously, Spice Girls broke protocol.
Yes. Was he cross with you, or did he just laugh it off? Was he cross? What do you think?
He loved it. I think his mum
loved
might have been cross. We were always a little bit scared of meeting the Queen because we thought we might get shouted at. But we didn't. But what's so wonderful now is, yeah, the bottom tapping and the kissing on the face. He's now king, so it's even more bizarre.
Have you smacked the King's bottom?
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm not taking the blame for that.
Right, should we do some questions? Let's have a look. Ooh, hello. This is from Anonymous. Will Spice Girls be headlining the Legend slot at Glastonbury 2023? Please say yes.
Oh, I wish.
Whose question was that, actually? Oh, no.
It's anonymous. Anonymous is anonymous.
Oh, I see some little faces going...
No, the truth, there's so many Glastonbury rumours around the Spice Girls. We've never been asked. Or I've never been asked. Yeah, we've never been asked. And
does that annoy you?
No, not at all, because it's never been right. The timing's never been right. I want to do it. Some of the other girls I know want to do it. So hopefully that will happen at some point.
So we need to leak that to somebody to make it happen. Do you have a Spice Girls WhatsApp group? That's a good one. But it's anonymous as well. Yeah. You could have got some high praise for this.
We do. We have various groups. Because you know it's like with friends where you always have to leave one out just so you can talk about them.
So you have various Spice Girls groups?
We don't do it, come on. Not in a mean way. Obviously about surprises for their birthdays.
Oh, yeah. Feels so bad. Oh, no, this is a good one. What's your favourite tracksuit? Anonymous.
I feel like I'm on Live and Kicking. Favourite trackie. My favourite trackie actually features in the book. Actually my dad bought me a Liverpool Football Club tracksuit at some point in the 80s, probably 88 or something. That was, treasured.
Treasured. Oh, I love it. I actually played at Anfield once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, back in when we all, because I got my job around the same time that you kicked off, and I remember I was just a little admin assistant working at the BBC, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm working here, I was trying to save money to pay off my student loan, and I remember going down to the donut, and you all came in, and I was like, oh my gosh, and because you were all about empowering and stuff, I thought, I need to change, I need to do something, I need to empower myself and go for my dreams.
Wow.
And then within a year, I was on CBBC and that changed my life. But it was because I saw you that I thought, and your message was all about, go for it, anything's possible. And I've seen you over the years, but that's the first time I've actually told that story out loud. So this is a moment for me, it's a moment. It's a moment. Okay, if you could change your Spice Girl name, what would it be?
Do you know what? I just wouldn't. Sometimes I've been asked this before, and it's like, I wouldn't want to be one of the others. I love them. But, I am sporty.
Yeah.
There's nothing else for it.
Yeah, Jim, no.
Active Spice. Sweaty Spice.
Sweaty C.
You've triggered yourself there, haven't you?
Anyway, listen. Okay, you've written a book. This is from Kat. Actually, Kat is the first person who's actually put a name to a question. You've written a book. What's next on your list? Do you have like a, bucket list?
Yeah, I do actually. I think it's quite important that, isn't it? It's quite good to have focus. I've been really lucky in my career because lots of things have come to me. Like when I did the West End, I'd kind of manifested that. I'd just had my daughter. She was about 6 months old and I was quite keen to work, but I didn't really, because my work, I do so much travelling and I didn't want to be taken away from her too much. So the West End was perfect. I live in North London. And so that happened. But moving forward, the book has taken a lot. It's taken a lot of time. It's taken a lot of energy. And, it's interesting. It's been received really well, actually, which is a relief at this point. But it's kept me away from music a little bit.
Right.
So I've done lots of shows this year. It's been a really good year because obviously all the festivals were back on and we were out there playing. But next year, new music, more DJing, more performing. And
it's in you, isn't it? You just get a buzz.
It's what drives me. It's everything.
How do you juggle, being Sporty Spice and that normality that we talked about earlier?
It's actually, I think, being a mum is hard and being a working mum is, is tricky with navigating all of that. And you know what? Sometimes it's great. The balance is there. Other times it's not. For example, something like this, I mean, my schedule's crazy over the next couple of weeks, but it's a chunk of time. I booked a holiday for myself and my daughter, so I know I can have some good quality mum time. So yeah, it's just always trying to, you know, figure it out.
And knowing you've got that goal can see you through. I think loads of, you know, people with...
And I didn't for years. I was like, because I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I'd be work. And, you know, as well, when you're self-employed, opportunities come up, you don't want to miss things, you're worried, but if you don't block out that time, sometimes it never happens.
Do you think that exacerbated sometimes some of the things that worried you?
Yeah, definitely. And I needed to stop. There's places in my career where I needed a break, but I didn't take one. And it resulted in me being really unwell.
But you're here now.
I'm here
and
now.
you're telling the story.
I'm good. I've got a holiday in a few weeks. It's all good.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. Should we do... Let's do... the time's ticking. I'll keep looking. Oh, this has just popped up from Anonymous.
Oh.
Anonymous asked loads of questions. Is there another Spice Girls movie on the cards?
Not at the moment. Someone's mentioned it before.
Oh, really?
It's actually 25 years since, well, it's the anniversary this year, Spice World, the movie and the album. So there'll be a little bit of kerfuffle around that.
Okay.
But yeah, beyond that, I don't know. There's lots of other things we talk about, but...
Like what?
Lots of opportunities. But I think there's scope for many, many things, isn't there? But for me, the ultimate is the shows. I want to get everyone back on stage.
Glastonbury.
Glasgow, yeah.
We're going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen. Greatest live show you have ever played before Glastonbury?
Well, those stadium shows in 2019, we played great venues around the UK and Ireland, but, you know, Wembley, it's 20 minutes from my house, so it's great.
That's the best
I get
job.
home.
It's the best thing when
Easy.
you have a job which is just around the corner.
Yeah, love it. But, you know, Wembley's iconic. We played it in 1998, when it was the old Wembley. But to go back and to just see it, 25 years later, and it was electric. It's like no experience I've ever had before. And I was in a place where I was able to take it all in. Yeah. So that, by far, that and the Olympics, my two highlights. Yeah.
Olympics were brilliant. Listen, we've got more questions, but we can't ask any more. But congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Who I Am, My Story. I've read some of the chapters and flicked through just before you came as well. And you are very open, and I think things like that, people who are in position to make a change and influence, it's really important that you share a story, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Everybody, Mel C.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're amazing.